announced games that are officially announced. Xbox is set to release 33 games by the end of 2025, with PlayStation set with announced games with 34 releases. Now here's the thing that's really difficult for fanboys to solve and have always been fighting. Want me to recall the Xbox has the worst game, low Metacritic, PlayStation games are far better. Here's the deficit or the contrast difference of PlayStation first party versus Xbox. Right now, PlayStation has an open critic aggregate of 81.9% out of 100. Xbox has only released 26 games so far. Their aggregate is 80.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
Alright everybody, welcome back to another XVault Gaming video. XVault here, and yes, today we got your next dose of the salty batch files, of course, and as you can see from the opening, the goalpost narratives and shifting is at an all-time high, especially with the understanding that Xbox is mainly a third-party publisher at this point. So we got some other things to get to here as well, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so starting off, like I said, we're going to get right to the salt, as always. We're going to have our first example here from one of the kings out there in the Xbox community, one of the kings of delusion here, one of them, mind you, Mr. King David here, so holding those lines and whatever. But as you can see here, the delusion, they want to put up this false equivalency of what's happening versus reality. So as you can see, right, just from the thumbnail of a video team up, right? Nintendo and Xbox team up to crush PlayStation. I don't know where this team up's at. I don't know who tagged him in. That didn't happen. I mean, he's all about those kayfabe storylines here, and if you know, you know. However, I don't see this as a thing whatsoever. As a matter of fact, they're just giving all their games as opposed to some of them seem to be giving all those games. Xbox Direct just happened not too shortly after this video being recorded here. And those games are coming to all platforms. They haven't announced anything for the Nintendo Switch 2 because that has not been officially released with a release date. So mum's the word on what is officially going to Nintendo Switch 2 in regards to current generation games. But this narrative, folks, this narrative of what's happening with this imaginary team up, if anything, PlayStation would be teaming up or Nintendo would be teaming up with PlayStation, not a company where they've been laughed out of the building by trying to be bought twice at this point in time. And who knows if they've been trying more times than that. And Nintendo continues to laugh in their face. However, we have the narrative that there's some sort of a special sauce, special team up, if you will. And man, this guy is something else, man. To live in that delusional world or to grift, it's one of the two. It's either he's that mentally disturbed and not in tune with reality, or the grifting is at an all-time high. I'll let you, the audience, decide. But let's keep going here because, man, Colt Eastwood, he's back again, completely unhinged. He hasn't stopped. We have, obviously, as the opening video showed, he's having a very hard time coping with the reality of what Xbox is. He's trying to figure it out. Where can he pull his wins? What does it look like? How do we spin this? Is it a publisher war? What are we doing? And if it's a publisher war, even if it was for PlayStation or whoever, publisher war, look guys, I'm out. As a matter of fact, there actually is no console war. Let me just preface this, right? There is no console war anymore. No matter, even if Xbox comes out with another handheld or the console for next gen or whatever the case is, it's done. It's Nintendo and PlayStation as far as the console side of things, and they'll last as long as they last. But when it goes to a publisher, what are we doing here? At that point, it is only about the games. It doesn't matter because you're going to be playing them anywhere and everywhere to your heart's content. It doesn't matter at that point. So the fact they're spinning this, but before I get too off track here, let's get to this post here. Colt Eastwood, they are making a myriad of excuses in response to a, of course, Gaz post, moving the goalpost and putting the blame on Xbox while they wait and count the days for Xbox games. I assure you, speaking for myself, for sure, and probably countless others out there, not everybody, but countless others out there, we're not waiting for Xbox games. We don't care. I don't care if I did. How many times have I had to state this, and as well as many others out there, how many times we have to state that we can play those games since everything's an Xbox, your TV, your stick, your whatever. if we wanted to play those games, we're not just waiting. We're not general MLD and refuse to play on any other device. It's whatever makes the most sense. Those games aren't gravitating enough to pull them in, hence the low hardware sales, in addition to Game Pass, of course, conditioning all those fans to, of course, rent the games instead of buy. Therefore, we are in this situation of being basically a third-party publisher. So, yes, we'll keep counting down the days, because the more and more games that are announced to be multi-platform that were so near and dear to your heart to be on your console of choice is now no longer a thing. So we're counting down the days, essentially, to get more and more tiers, more and more salt, more and more goalpost narratives, switches, whatever, that we're trying to keep up with at this point, but it's really sad and pathetic, ultimately. Let's keep going here. So, we have another Cold Eastwood part here, right? So, this is great. The problem with PlayStation fans is they don't listen to PlayStation leadership. They only listen to Phil Spencer. Unhackable here. Phil is sending Xbox games to PlayStation. How can PlayStation fans not listen? Exactly. Why would we not pay attention to the whole picture here? PlayStation fans are going to pay attention to the whole picture because, yes, Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, have been coming, continue to come, hashtag the whole slate. Of course we're going to pay attention. That's like being like, hey guys, since EA or Ubisoft or whoever's not first party, mind you, not first party, we're just not paying attention because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why are we paying attention to these guys where they're giving games on a platform that we're playing on? Why are we paying attention? How stupid does it have to be? I mean, I've been seeing a lot of cult stuff through the years, right? Popping up. I do not follow. I don't sub to his channel. I don't do any of that stuff. This just comes my way. And as the years going on, the mental breakdowns that he's internally having that he has not admitted with himself or his audience shows over time his gradual descent into madness here and how stupid. He didn't used to be this dumb. He would lie. He's always lied. He'd continue to do that. Kind of sweep some things under the rug. And as time gone on, as you can see here, it's just dumber and dumber. Like, I don't even have to try. Nobody has to try. It's like, hey, here's another Cold Eastwood post, guys. Look at this. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And we have King David and General MLD and all the above that he competes with, but he loves to hold that ultimate monarch right there, right? Of that throne, that scepter of stupidity, of delusion. It's just really crazy to see. It really is fascinating to see because he's just latching on in any way that he possibly can, and he's losing it. Like I said, he is not having a good time with any of this. It's pretty phenomenal to see, in all things considered. But let's keep going here. I think this is great here. So we have another kids movie. He's been featured more and more because he's also not doing well and coming up with all sorts of stuff here. But as you can see, Avowed just simply post, Avowed is officially 1 month out from launch. But kids move here. Who can I speak to about review access? So folks, for your ultimate Xbot here that he even deems himself, so don't come at me at the comments calling him Xbot, and that's cringy. I try to avoid using Xbot because I do think it's cringy. I think it's just a tired term. I think the reality of the terms is Xbox fanboy, fraud, shill, whatever. I think those are more appropriate in my opinion because Xbot is just, it does seem childish, right? So let's call them what they really are. Fanboys, which means they follow the delusion, which means they are shills, the content creators for that exact same reason, the frauds. I mean, it all goes hand in hand. That's ultimately what they are. So we should probably use the actual terms there because we shouldn't be dancing around it, is ultimately what I'm trying to say. But back at the meat of the problem here, we're not only battling, folks, we're not only battling the fact that you need to buy your games in general and not use Game Pass so much so these devs get more money, more attention, this, that, and the other. He's now not even wanting to use Game Pass. This is day one, mind you, on Game Pass. He wants a review access code to have it beforehand, be done, all sorts of stuff to reiterate that he doesn't want to pay for this game. That's the fan base. That's these content creator fanboy shills frauds. That's what they do. They want free, 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 gimme, gimme, gimme. Wait, why aren't our games exclusive? Why is our hardware and consoles and whatnot not selling like they should? Why this? Why that? Prime example right here of what's going on, folks. This is a prime example. What are we doing here, Smooth? Pay for your games. Lead by example. Might have changed some stuff, but we're not done there. For some reason, I just wanted to highlight this one here. So this is from X Game Kid. Don't show him very often. But he states, because they're in the delusional mind speak again of Xbox receiving PlayStation games, he states, Days Gone would be the first game to be released on Xbox Series S and X by PlayStation Studios. So is he just like speaking this into existence? Is he looking at this from another timeline? I don't know. I don't know what gave him that opportunity to reflect and say, Days Gone, guys. The first game coming over is Days Gone. Because that would make the most sense, right? Days Gone that Sony themselves don't want to back up or put with anybody at this point in time. And to my knowledge, and anybody that's been insider talking around me, have not heard anything about a sequel or a port or anything like that going elsewhere for Days Gone. And if PlayStation games were going, I don't think this would be the first one to be like Sony's all, hey guys, this is what you're missing out on PlayStation is Days Gone. And that's coming from a guy who loves this game. Was my game of the year, basically, of last gen. And I think it was one of my top 5s of last gen. And I think I had videos about that too. But that saying that is because this is not an existential IP that really says, hey, you know what reminds me of PlayStation and the quality is Days Gone. Again, I think it's great, but as a whole, when you're talking about PlayStation IPs and the Monarchs, you could say Sly Cooper, you can say God of War, you can say Horizon, Uncharted, Last of Us, Jak and Daxter even, all this stuff, right? But Days Gone, it's weird why they would come to this conclusion. Just want to share that. It's just weird. This is their mindset all the time. Just they throw crap at the wall, see what sticks, and goes on from there. But that being said, here we are not done. We got one more here. This last little part actually is a video. And again, I just wanted to share this one. This is, again, Kid Smooth. Before I talk too much about it, go ahead and take a look at this here.
You have these PlayStation fanboys, and I have to do this because PlayStation fanboys, to me, I think are a cancer to gaming. They are bad for gaming. I think PlayStation fanboys, you would think they enjoyed like good games or great games. They're just been a lucky recipient. PlayStation fanboys has just been lately a lucky recipient of good games, because when it comes to it, they actually don't enjoy it. They value one thing over great. No, they value a couple things over great games. They value a couple things. The first thing they value is the platform, the hardware itself, the console, right? That's number one. Then they value the sales. Then they value the accolades for the game, whether they're interested or not. Is it a game of the year nominee? Did it get game of the year? They value that. Then the actual game. Y'all care. All y'all want to talk about is Indiana Jones unit sales, PlayStation sales. That's like, yo, you guys are horrible for gaming.
All right, so that's a pretty bad video. That's a really bad take on Kid Smooth's part here. I was going to hold that one in my back pocket for a couple videos later, but I thought this was a super important video to showcase and share with everybody, because there's a lot of bad things said here in regards to his take, right? The fact he's starting out, I don't know what a recipient is. I don't know if he's trying to channel the great Matt Hardy and delete, but I think it's recipient. But however, what we're doing is going over and calling PlayStation fans and gamers a cancer to gaming is really weird, considering that the PlayStation fans have really kept PlayStation, the economy, the games, the devs, the industry under PlayStation and its games moniker afloat really well. It's been very successful. And PS5 at this point in time, and we'll get to the numbers part here that he's talking about in just a moment, and I'll explain why. but it's tracking above the PlayStation 4 at this point in time. That's phenomenal. PlayStation 4, that generation was very successful for Sony, very successful for the PlayStation IP, the games, and all the stuff on in-house, right? So why is that a cancer to gaming? When the cancer to gaming has been more attributed to leeches and being brainwashed into renting your games, and everybody likes to sit there and pull back, well, what about Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and all these local places that have been around your area, perhaps of a rental service, mainly being Blockbuster, right? Well, we used to do it. It wasn't a big deal back then. It was a different time, and it was different in general because games weren't a mainstay medium. Games weren't available everywhere. You had to do it, and yes, it made sense, but I promise you, if I could buy those games, if it was available to me to get those games and they were the mainstay they weren't as crisp as a placeholder, is what I'm saying. And what I mean by that is it wasn't the staple of hobbies, right? The hobbies were still sports, being outdoors, fishing, hunting, camping, all this stuff. The games weren't the mainstay they were back then that they are today. If they were, I think people would be buying them more. I always respected people that bought those games and didn't rent them. That was so cool to have those bots. And yes, we're not going to talk about the economy part of it and as far as the value and yes, right? You can rent it. Maybe you can only afford that. There's nothing wrong with it. However, for those like Kids Move that can probably afford it, that has admitted they can afford it, as well as multiple content creators, has admitted that they can buy these games, they choose to rely on Game Pass. If you rent your games, you're not getting enough subs. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. So, again, circling all the way back around, is that the cancer portion of that is harming the industry, is harming the ecosystem, that being the Xbox hardware ecosystem. You guys aren't buying the games. That's what's letting it down. Do we see the difference? Like, the projection here is absolutely insane. And I'm sorry, as any gamer out there, whether you're Nintendo or PlayStation or anything, and since he's claiming the whole Xbox economy, you should be offended that he's calling basically everybody out. He's only saying PlayStation here, yes, but he's essentially calling everybody out that, the cancer to gaming. When Xbox fanboys, right, are the ones that have been harming it. These content creators for Xbox have been harming the brand as well by lying. This is why I'm doing what I do. They're lying to the fan base. They fill their heads with this delusion and craziness, right? It doesn't stop, and that harms the brand. That's the true cancer of it. Take a step back and realize that's the true cancer of it, and hopefully somebody gets this piece of it, at least this segment, over to Kid Smooth if he doesn't want to watch or see this or find this. This is the truth. And then, why are you so upset about people that pay attention to games and Game of the Year nominees? It matters. Why does it matter? Because Game of the Year nominees, if you can say that 20 times fast, as well as Game of the Year winners or in whatever category, whether it's the Game of the Year main, right? Or it's the best RPG, or it's the best ongoing game, or multiplayer, or whatever, right? All those categories. Why does it matter? Because it matters to the company, the corporation. And why does that matter, right? Are you a corporate bootlicker? No. It matters because if the corporations see that game as a success, they continue to put that support behind it. They will continue to fund it more. You're going to get sequels. Those sequels in turn get money. That money gets regenerated to make different IPs or continued sequels for other games and bolstering the hardware and this and that. And again, going to the hardware part, right? If the hardware sells very well, you continually get that hardware. It's going to be supported. You're going to get better architecture behind it. You're going to get better features. You're going to get better power. You're going to get better games and quality and all this stuff. So that's why it matters. That's why fans, especially PlayStation fans, and I'm sure Nintendo fans to a point too, pay attention to the Nintendo side of things for their hardware and games. Who wouldn't? If you're an adult, if you're 10 years old, 11 years old, obviously you don't care. You don't understand economics at that point that we adults do. At that point, that's why you pay attention. It matters. So, kid, again, do you see how asinine? This is probably one of the most asinine pieces of any segment you've ever done. absolutely, astronomically, horribly translated by your brain to speak out into existence how horrible of a take this is. It matters. And I know he's not the only one out there that would say kind of the same stuff, but very shocking in a way that it's coming from him, because it's just really, really a bad take. And this is all just pure saltiness, copium, trying to break down the whole, Microsoft being a third-party publisher now. And like we went over all these examples, that's exactly why they are in the position they are. But ultimately, to answer all those Kid Smooth questions, like I just did, it matters. That's why we pay attention. It isn't because of bragging rights. I'm not going to the local gas station or local, Target or Walmart and going up to some stranger and be like, hey guys, you know that PlayStation just sold X amount this month? They're first place this month. Whatever the case is, right? No, but we pay attention and we bring it up to the fanboys out there that want to sit there and dish, and the new narrative of, PlayStation's dead and has no games, waiting on Xbox games, all this stuff. It's just all false copium. False hope, delusion, all the stuff. That is the breakdown there. So, just kind of wanted to break that video apart there a little bit. Very disappointing, horrible take. Just wanted to end the video there because, man, that had to be shared. That was something else. But I can see a video being more wrong than right there. That's pretty bad. So, that being said, enjoy what you like. Enjoy the games you want. Play where you want. I say that every single time. But again, people are upset because I main PlayStation, and so that must mean I have some sort of agenda. Forget the facts that we just show every single time and the saltiness there. But that being said, we'll let you have the rest of your day back, folks. I appreciate you sticking around for the entirety of the video. If you haven't already, definitely leave a like, comment down below. Both those things do help out the algorithm, of course. And I also love to hear from y'all. In addition, if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. We are moving our way to that 3,000 sub goal, so thank you again. Definitely getting super close. And of course, at the end of the day, just always remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next XWOW Gaming video. And until then, take care.